Hello, I'm Cheryl Karma,
And I'm Russ Karma.
and you're watching Karma Cinema Reviews.
All right, that one was better.
Yes, and it wasn't as slow, see?
Yeah. And,
So, we're back with part 2 of Saving Private Ryan, so we won't go into too much yet. We'll go straight into
yeah, we're just,
where we ended last time, which...
yeah. Yes, we're just going to dive right into it.
That's right.
That's the
Why
way
not?
I like to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, she said that too.
So, we kind of left off after they found the fake Ryan, and they ended up having to move on, learning that he wasn't the real Ryan.
You guys push buttons up there.
Sorry, cats. And the next scene that they kind of come in on is this paratrooper crash, which I don't know. Like, there's just, I don't really know what to say about this scene. The paratroopers, like when they go in and like there's all the wounded soldiers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I just didn't know parachute or whatever.
Paratroopers, the people that jump out of the airplanes.
You know, yeah. I just didn't realize that's what they all were there.
Yeah.
I just remembered that they
where
crashed. The plane crashed.
That's how Ryan got lost. Was that they were
They're
supposed to
dropping.
drop at one zone and they
Yeah.
took heavy fire and had to move out several miles.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that they one thing that I did want to talk about was how they had a bunch of German POWs walking in line, and Fish Mellish, who was played by Goldman, Adam Goldman. He's sitting there looking at all these German soldiers, showing them his Star David, saying Juden, I am Juden, telling them like I'm Jewish. That's German for Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Steven Spielberg had said that he wrote that in the film because he was living that vicariously. Because Steven Spielberg is also a very proud Jewish man.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Something I actually didn't know.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Spielberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, Berg. That's pretty Jewish.
Oh.
Anything with gold and Berg in it is usually Jewish.
Oh. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I don't think about the Jews. Not to be mean. I didn't mean that in a mean way. I just don't think about anybody's real,
Yeah.
like culture, background, whatever, religion, so I don't think about those even with stars.
Yeah. Which, and then they end up getting all those dog tags.
Yeah. See, that was kind of, I don't know.
So the commanding officer of this crash site, when he hears that Captain Miller and his crew are looking for this Private Ryan, he gives them a bag of dog tags of fallen soldiers, and they're sitting there sorting through them, trying to find if Ryan's dog tag is in there. Well, a bunch of wounded soldiers are walking by, looking at them just sort through these tags like it's a Tuesday. And Wade comes up and tells
My
them,
hero.
like, these aren't poker chips. Come on, guys, and starts putting them away.
POAs walking by.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making fun of, or just playing a game with the dog tags, basically.
Yep, which,
not respecting the lost, I guess you could put the word into it, yeah.
Which, at this point, I think this is kind of the only time that you see Captain Miller crack, as he just kind of throws a little fit, and he's like, well, how else do you think we should find him? Maybe we should just start running through the forest yelling his name like Hansel and Gretel. And he starts walking around just going, Ryan? Anybody know a James Private Ryan? And it's, I thought maybe we should stop and just really give Tom Hanks his kudos, because he did such a great role, like just such a great portrayal in this film, because of how ordinary he came off. He just, it was really good, because he toted that line of being just so average that he felt like he was, he was anybody, you or me, or any of the men he was commanding, but never quite passing it enough where you forgot that he was the captain, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so I really, because I know that they had talked about Mel Gibson or somebody else, Harrison Ford, taking the role of Captain Miller, and I really think the film would have suffered if they had cast anyone but Tom Hanks.
I mean, they're both good actors, but yeah, I think Tom Hanks is the only one that could have probably played this part.
They wouldn't have been able to bring what Tom...
Because the normalcy, the human being
that humanity of it.
Yeah, that Tom Hanks brings to a lot of his films.
Well, and I think that was... like how ordinary he was. That's what made you want to give him respect, was because he didn't come off as your superior. He came off as a guy that was just thrown into this like everyone else and trying to get home to his wife and his rose bushes, you know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, anyway, you know, he's standing around there.
Spoiler alert, he doesn't make it.
No.
Aww. I
Spoiler.
know.
You know?
I did. I said spoiler alert before I said that. I just like, wow, I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he's sitting there just shouting out Ryan's name like it's Marco Polo, and one guy looks back to this guy and goes, "Hey, isn't so-and-so, didn't he used to run with the Private Ryan? Go get him." And this guy comes up, and he's had his ear blown off with a grenade. And I don't remember the actor's name, but this young man grows up to become Obi from the Sons of Anarchy. Which I didn't really get into Sons of Anarchy, but that was a really popular series. And if I didn't say something, somebody would have probably called it out in the comments or something. Yeah. But yeah, I thought this scene was just funny because he's like sitting there and the guy's like, "Yeah, you got to talk real loud," because a grenade went off in his ear. He goes, "You got to talk really loud because a grenade went off in my ear." And he goes, "You know what James Francis Ryan?" He goes, No, James Francis Ryan." And it was just kind of funny, but yeah, this guy, he ends up telling him where he is. He's at this city of Ramel, you know, and it was like the only godsend that they got throughout this entire story.
And it was kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, what kind of moment you'd call it, but it was just, you know, it's like out of all the stuff they've already done.
Miracle.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what other words, you know, just to like all of a sudden just be like, okay, I pretty much, you know, give up. It's like, you know, who knows who the F is this is, you know, and it's like, and boom, there it is right in there, you know. Yeah. All of a sudden they find everything they needed.
Yeah.
So,
you know, it was a real aha moment.
Yeah.
You know, and so they set off for Ramel, and they end up stumbling into a Nazi, I don't really know what it is. It's just a camp of Nazi soldiers that would be able to flank off any military presence coming through this field.
Yeah.
And so the captain, he wants to stop and infiltrate this so that these Nazis don't end up hindering the war going forward for the Americans. And all of his crew have a really bad feeling about this. And this is where I was talking about Tom Hanks always toting but never passing that line of you understanding who's in charge. Because when his men started giving him flack about it, you could just see it where he was getting really upset that they were questioning his authority. And that's when you see the captain come out of him. And like, even
but still in a respectful way.
Yeah,
you
even
know?
The amount that came out, it was so little. Yeah. But it was just enough to get you to understand,
say,
like,
hey, hold on, this is the point. Yeah, this is the point. You better be listening to me, type thing. Yeah, because you know it was still soft enough that he wasn't like, you know, where you'd see somebody else in charge. Well, you know what? F you, I'm the one that says do this, and you're going to do it no matter what kind of tone of voice or anything like that, you know, or stance or anything.
Exactly.
It was all still kind of, I'm on your level type thing, but you got to listen to me. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And so they go up and they infiltrate this camp, and by the end of it, their medic, Wade, is shot. And it was... Yeah, it was a pretty spectacular death scene, and it was very heart-wrenching.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, Cheryl was in tears by this point in the film.
Yes.
Yeah, she was so heartbreaking to see her baby boy
well,
go.
Yes. Well, that's just it. I mean, he's this young man. I mean, I know they're probably, really all young, but you just see him as a young man. And for him to be a medic also, he kind of knows what's going on with him. And he's asking questions about these guys, so he knows, okay, I'm done for. There's no way you guys can save me. I'm done. And to know that, and to know that he's going through that, it's just like, it's...
Well, he's asking him, well, because he's freaking out, and Upham says, how do we fix you, Wade? And he goes, is there an exit wound in my back, and where is it? And then he's like,
when he said that? I thought they found the exit wound. Okay.
And then he goes, well, where's where am I shot? And he fills in there.
Worst? Which one's bleeding the most?
Yeah, and he goes, oh my God, that's my liver. And then he realized he was a goner, and so he goes, I think Captain Miller was like, well, what do we do? And he says, I could use some more morphine. And that was kind of when they knew he was a goner. That was the symbol.
He definitely knew, and he was just, I think by sitting there asking for the morphine, I think he was letting the captain know too.
Yeah.
This is all you can do for me. There's nothing else you could do.
Those little shots of morphine, man, they were very strong concentrate. So there's no reason why a full-grown man would need more than one of those within so many hours.
Yeah, and they ended up giving him 2 more.
Yeah, it was basically well, if he's going to die, at least he'll be at,
He's comfort or whatever.
He's
not
as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a really hard scene, and I lied, this was actually the only time that the captain fully broke down, because he did break off from his men and break down and start crying, And they took a prisoner of war. One German survived, who was dubbed Steamboat Willie throughout, in the script of this film. And, these guys are real pissed that their buddies died. And if I might digress, I just wanted to say that for as simple as these characters' roles were in the film, they did such a great portrayal that it was really hard to watch them go, because you just wanted to spend more time with each and every one.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You almost felt deprived.
Wade was supposed to make it.
You didn't even get to see the beginning of their story. You came in the middle, and then they were just ripped away from you too soon. For sure,
yeah, for sure.
Which was also pretty accurate about how the war was, because grown men weren't fighting this war. They were boys. They were 20 years old, man. I couldn't imagine.
Exactly. So I said they were all young. They were all kids.
But yeah, these guys, they're ready to execute this German soldier, even though I don't even think he's the one that shot Wade, but they didn't care. They wanted to kill him. And it's crazy, because you see the divide between Upham and the rest of the crew. And you see Upham, he literally says, what is going on? And he's like, man, I'm about to witness a war crime, But Tom Hanks, Captain Miller, he ends up letting this German soldier go.
Because he realized Upham's kind of right. He's a prisoner of the war. He's not an actual war. So they can't shoot him. They're not allowed to shoot him or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah, they're not, technically you're not supposed to, but, I'll kind of get into that in a minute, because I wanted to kind of talk about how when he let him go, Reiben was on the captain, what is this? This is stupid. This dude killed Wade. And the captain told Reiben to fall in, and Reiben's like, nah, man, I ain't doing that. And him and the Sarge get into it.
Tom which Sizemore. Is one of your favorite?
Dude, man, Tom Sizemore was so perfect for this role, was he not, man? I mean, everything, the look of him, his voice, he just, if you thought of a stereotypical Army sergeant, this is what you would think of, man. And yeah, him and everybody's just in it, man. Everything's going crazy. People like, Captain, dude, he's gonna, they're
gonna kill each other.
They're gonna kill each other. Because the sergeant has his pistol drawn on Reiben, and Reiben's telling him, what are you going to do, shoot me leg? He goes, no, I'm going to shoot you in your goddamn mouth, I'm going to shoot you because I don't like you. And, this was like you could feel all of that chemistry. Like there was so much tension in this scene, and that's when Tom Hanks started his speech, and it was supposed to be like this really heroic, patriotic speech, and Tom Hanks was like, "Nah, that's not what the captain would do," and he goes, "Man, I was a teacher. I was an English teacher before this war."
Which, let me interrupt you on that a little bit and give a little bit of a backstory to that nobody knew where the captain was from, what he did before the war, stuff like that. And there was actually a pool a muddy pool. Yeah, in the unit about who would who'd get it, if they found out anything about the captain's past or whatever
if they could guess what he did for a living or where he was from, and he was just a school teacher.
And and kind of to kind of make everybody kind of stop and just like get him off track or whatever. He just kind of brings in. He's like, "What's the pool up to?" Well, this is my backstory, and it's really nothing special, But.
Yeah, he was just a regular guy that got thrown into it like everybody. He even says, every man that I kill makes me feel further away from home.
Yeah.
And if getting this Private Ryan home gives me the right to go home to my wife, then I'm going to do it. That's my mission. Yeah. And everybody falls in after that. And kind of the next scene that we run into is when they finally find Private Ryan. They're just walking through a field and this military vehicle goes through. I think it was a type of tank. And they end up hiding. And then all of a sudden the tank takes fire and it's Ryan and his platoon.
Unit, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and we finally meet Matt Damon in the film.
Which is another thing. It's like they just come across him accidentally. Like, just like they found out where he was going to be kind of accidentally. Yeah. Not accidentally because that's the whole purpose. But, it just kind of drops right in their hands all of a sudden, They're like on their way to the bridge. And before they even get to the bridge, all the way to the bridge, there's Ryan,
Yeah, there's Ryan.
Just like they didn't know where to go to next and this guy comes out.
Damon. Dark. But it's pretty crazy because they're just like, Tom Hanks, he's like, yeah, I'm Captain Miller from the 2nd Rangers, and this guy's like, yeah, I'm so-and-so, and then, he's like, yeah, I'm James Francis Ryan from Iowa, and everybody's just looking at him, and they're all looking at him like, this is the guy? This is the guy?
We're sacrificing our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point out the fact that this Iowa boy had a New England accent, and there was no denying that. And I just had to laugh about that because he was just like, hey, I'm from Iowa. I'm walking here. He didn't say that. But that was kind of like how I took it when I saw, because, you know what a rural accent is. like what people sound like when they're from the Midwest, and that's not Midwest.
Yeah. Well, and I think like they should, because he was a nobody, I don't think they went too strong with him. I think they just let him. I've never paid attention exactly where he's from. I think
he's from like the New England area.
Really, because I was going to say, I think they just let him use his own voice.
Yeah,
just let him
cover up his accent very well.
Yeah. Well,
Matt Damon is a good actor.
Dang it! Oh yeah, he got married, but I'm just saying at the time, Stephen probably just didn't,
You don't even know what that's from, huh?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll tell you later. Okay,
so I was wondering why you keep doing that.
We come up on the city of Ramel, and this is not a real city. They actually built this set 30 miles outside of London Paris. Or was it London? I think it was Paris. No, it was London. Paris. I don't know. The point is that, they built this set, and it looked amazing, man. I was really impressed with this set, because it looked like, I thought that it was an actual World War II war site that they had preserved.
Used. Yeah.
Yeah, and they built this set. They had brought
in structures from other places, rubble from other places,
from neighboring construction sites to make it look like a city that had come upon artillery fire. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, but that was kind of the history on this set. And I'm trying to think, kind of like we come into it, and I guess Tom Hanks just kind of tells Matt Damon, like, yeah, your brother's dead, you're coming home. And Matt Damon goes, I don't think so. You know, that was kind of what it was. And this is where the whole plot goes off the rails, you know, because what would have happened is they would have went in and they would have been like, hey, Ryan, your 3 brothers are dead, you're coming home. And if he was like, nah, we're not doing that, I'm staying right here, they would have been like, nah, dude, you're coming with us. And the remaining guys would have ganged up on him, beat him down, and if they had to, they would have hogtied him and brought him back.
Well, not really, because according to you, they wouldn't even have risked their life to go get this guy in the first place.
Not if it was this detrimental.
At the beginning, that's what you talked about.
Like
well, they really wouldn't do that. They wouldn't really do that.
With the Nyland brothers, like when they went and collected the youngest Nyland brother, he was missing for a little bit, and then they found him real fast. Mm-hmm. Like he reported in, and then they were like, oh, well, by the way, we got sent in order to send you home for being a sole survivor. And he was like, I don't want to do that. I want to stay here with the only brothers I got left. And they said, that's cool, dude, but like, this is the army, so fall in. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
You know, but if they wouldn't have gone out of their way to find him, they didn't go out of their way to find him, because that is a gross misuse of military assets.
Okay.
But anyway, we wouldn't have this great film, so we overlooked that stuff, because this film is a goddamn masterpiece. And so, yeah, anyway, Captain Miller tells Private Ryan, like, you got to go home, you're the sole survivor, and he says, I'm not doing that, like, I don't deserve to go home any more than any of these men do, so I'm staying right here with them. And Captain Miller's like, well, what do you want us to tell your mother when she's got another American flag to fold? And he tells him,
American, I don't remember.
Yeah, American flag to fold.
Yeah, but she doesn't fold it. That's what I'm saying. Oh, that's why I said that's not the word for it.
But
yeah, she wouldn't fold it. They're handed it to her.
Tell my mom that I died with the only brothers I have left. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And once again, man, blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb, you know. The people you go through shit with are the people you're close with, not the ones you're born with, you know.
And I really think his mother would understand that. I don't know if they came and that's what they told him, that he did not want to leave. He wanted to fight with the only brothers he had left for his country. I think she would have sat there, especially if she knew her son. She'd be like, okay, I get that. That's the kind of man he was. And just made her even more proud of him.
Yeah.
If you ask me. But
yeah, and
I'm speaking as a mother, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm not a mother, so I wouldn't know. You know, I hope I'm not a mother. I'd be an ugly woman. See this beard?
But see, as a father, though, you'd probably be like, what a stupid jerk. What does he think he's doing? How dare he do that?
I would probably be like, go ahead and die at war. There can only be one.
You dork. Anyway.
So, I guess they decide to stay. Captain Miller decides that his mission is to get Ryan home safe. So, if he has to stay and help hold that bridge, which I guess that does kind of make sense, because this whole city, it's an amalgamation of a few different conflicts throughout World War II. Mm-hmm. And there were 2 cities in France, I believe, that they were the only 2 bridges across this certain river, and I think one of them, the Americans were ordered to hold this bridge against all odds. So it would make sense that they would fall in, because this was a ragtag group holding this bridge, so they needed all the help that they could get. And who knows, I mean, if the Germans had gotten the real bridge, the war could have gotten a lot different, you know, and the landscape could have looked a lot different in our history, you know. But yeah, anyway, they decide to take stock of their resources and set up some traps and set up a good battle plan on how to face down a larger, more powerful army, you know, or a group of men. you know, a more formidable foe. And after that, we kind of get some more cooling off time, just relaxing before the big battle. And there's this part in the movie where Private Ryan is telling Captain Miller that he can't remember his face. He's having trouble remembering his brother's faces, and Captain Miller tells him, well, you got to think of context. Like, when I'm trying to remember my wife and home, like, I think about, you know, like, laying in my hammock and my wife pruning the rose bush. And so Ryan ends up going off on this tangent story talking about this memory that he has of his brothers, and it's not a good story, and it's actually an audible, like, by Matt Damon. He came up with it on the fly, and they actually left it in the film because Steven Spielberg felt that it sounded like a story that
a small town boys would be
Iowa
doing.
Would say, and that's why it's in there.
Country boys, that's, you know, brothers, you know.
And I'll say, like, it is really good. Matt Damon is a really good actor. I did enjoy it, like, and I enjoyed it too because after he was done, he goes, "Why don't you tell me about your wife and those rose bushes?" And you know, Captain Miller was like, "No, that one's for me." Mm-hmm. And man, just the way he said it, like, I was just Tom Hanks is so amazing. I love that dude, you know. Like, his delivery's so great. It was just so mundane the way that he did it. He was like, nope, keeping that one for myself. He just seemed like a guy that you'd work in the shop with, you know, or that you'd go down to the local diner and see drinking a cup of Joe, you know. Like, that's what made his role in this film so great. I don't know if there was anything else that really stood out to you right before the Battle of Ramelle.
Not really. You know, I mean, you know, there's a couple bits kind of off topic a little bit, so I guess I'll wait till you're done.
Well, I will.
The battle.
I will say that if you had been watching this whole film, you'll notice that the sergeant, Tom Sizemore's character, he starts off in the beginning of this film with this big old pouch of chewing tobacco.
When they're on the ships coming into the
when
beach.
They're coming onto Normandy, and as the film progresses, it gets lighter and lighter. And in this scene, he takes the last bit out, and that's kind of the tell that his story's coming to an end. And there's a lot of tells in this film. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but everybody that held Caparzo's letter for his dad ended up dying.
One dying.
Because Wade took it. Yeah. And Wade died, and then the captain took it from Wade took it off Caparzo.
Yeah.
And then Miller took it off of Wade, and then Miller died. So the only one that survived was Reiben, because Reiben took it off the captain.
Yeah, I was going to say how the captain took it off somebody.
Yeah. But and then they're just hanging out talking about the song, and then all of a sudden they hear the tanks coming, and there are a lot of tanks. I think they said like 60 infantry and like 5 different tanks or something, and it's pretty crazy, man. The way that Reiber is glaring at Private Ryan in this scene, like, man, if you could stare daggers into a person. It's very subtle, but I did notice it, and I was like, wow, that was a really good subtle add-in on this, because, like, Reiben, he just looks at him, like, he hears about all the tanks, and he looks at Ryan like, really, dude? This is all because of you? And I kind of forgot to mention that everyone else had to do 6 months of boot camp, except Matt Damon. Steven Spielberg refused to let Matt Damon do the boot camp because he was hoping it would build up resentment between Matt Damon and the rest of the crew, which I think it was successful. I think it shows through right in this scene right here.
Yeah, and he does. And even when they first got there, and he's like telling them he didn't want to go, and they got all torqued off because they already lost two guys because of him, and
hey asshole, 2 good guys died getting here, you know, and and then, you know, then they Ryan, Miller, and Reiben, they hide in an explosion hole, in an artillery explosion hole. And while they're there waiting for the tanks to come, you see Reiben, he kind of takes a look at one last look at Ryan and gives him a nod of approval. You know, and it's very subtle stuff, man. And that's kind of what makes this film different. Another thing that makes this film different from the last few that we have reviewed is that there's just a lot of subtle little nuances that you got to catch. And it's hard to catch it all in one viewing.
Yeah. You know? Well, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of serious stuff going on. Yeah. It's a real deep movie. So.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of symbolism in this. I mean, you've got the overall plot of Saving Private Ryan. You got kind of the subplot of them trying to figure out what the captain did for a living before the war. You also got the theme of showing you what war is actually like. Like, yeah, there's a layers upon layers upon layers into this film, and it makes it really great, man. You know?
For sure.
The next death that kind of occurs that's very dramatic is Fish or Mellish, or what was his name? Adam Goldman Mellish, yeah.
Mellish.
He ends up in a struggle with a knife with a German soldier who I actually thought was Steamboat Willie, but on a second viewing it wasn't. A lot of people confuse that too. They look very similar, but this guy that Mellish is struggling with the knife is actually younger if you pay closer attention. But it's very dramatic, very poetic too, because of the knife that he used. That was a knife that it was a Hitler used knife, and Caparzo actually had given it to Mellish after they stormed the beaches of Normandy.
See, and I was trying to remember that because that's what I thought. That was the same night.
Yeah, it was.
But I swear he gave it to the sergeant or whatever, one guy that
no, he
gave it
to the only Jew with him because he was just like, yeah, man, a Jew's going to use this Hitler-used knife.
Yes, gotcha.
And then it was the Hitler-used knife that ended up killing the only Jew that was rolling with him. And it was really dramatic, man. I mean, because they had one American soldier who was shot in the throat, and he was just laying there choking on his own blood. And then you got the German soldier attacking Fish, and they're struggling with the knife, and they're rolling over this guy who's just bleeding out. And the German's telling him, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's just saying, shh, come on, just let it happen. It'll all be over soon. It'll be so much easier. And you got Upham just cowering in the staircase.
Which, and that's why, which now I don't really get, because at first I thought it was, like you said, Steamboat Willie that was there. So when he came down the stairs and let Upham,
didn't do anything
to him? Didn't do anything to him. I thought that was why, because he actually let him go.
Yeah.
But now it's like, why did he, just walk by him and say...
Probably because he just looked so pathetic, man. Like there was this famous soldier during World War I that he had Hitler in his sights and could have shot Hitler dead in World War I, and he didn't because he just looked so pathetic that he felt bad about killing him. And this guy was like decorated. I mean, I can't remember if he was a marksman, but I mean, like he was a legend among men, and he saw Hitler as a young man and was like, nah, you're too pathetic to kill, but sorry, something that really was like that I really did like with Upham being a coward is that I don't know, maybe it was because of how many times I've seen this film that I already knew that he was a coward, but it didn't really make me angry at him. It made me kind of have to realize, like, man, would that be me? Would I be Upham in this? Because...
Well, he's a very related, kind of person.
Yeah.
Partly because, like, at the, scene when, the captain, coots him over, too, there, anyway. I mean, like you said, he translates and reads maps.
Yeah, that's his job.
That's his job.
Yeah.
He's not used to, so all this, I mean, throughout all the little battles in the cities they stop at, you can see the fear. You can understand what he's going through, you know, and so you don't, I mean, you're kind of mad at him for cowering, because you're like, come on, get up there and help your men.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you understand because you probably would have been the same way freezing, like that,
Yeah,
so,
and it kind of has me curious, like, I don't know, if the first time you watched this film, were you mad at him, or did you sympathize with him? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious about that. But, yeah, man, and the only thing that I could really, the only thing that really stood out to me a lot was when they pulled out the 21 millimeter and they shot all of the American soldiers that were, infiltrating that German tank. Mm-hmm. It looked pretty bad. That was probably, one of the only bad effects in this film. Because you could see as they mowed it down, they had one that was standing with his back towards the cannon, and when it went up, you could tell it was a mannequin, and it was kind of funny, but it was really the only bad effect that I saw in this entire film, This film was really well done with the effects, man, and
sure.
There was I think I noticed on the second watch through, there was 2 moments of CGI.
There's 2 moments.
Yeah,
I thought we only had the one.
The first one was when the tank shot the bell tower that Jackson was in, the sniper.
Yeah.
The fire was CGI, but it's just a split second. It's one frame, and if you look at it, because we got a lot of examples of fire, which I did kind of I haven't mentioned that yet. The fire effects in this film are off the chain. They're so good. I'm convinced that somebody burned to death during this filming. I mean, probably not, but it looks like somebody should have at least, man. Because they were using real fire. You could tell. But yeah, that's the only way I could tell with that one frame that it was CGI fire, because, I had so many examples of what the real effect looked like. And the other one is when you come back to... the
Ryan at the end
at the end, and they do a rapid aging sequence on him, and those are that is the one thing that made me realize I was watching a film from 1998.
And I know, speaking of that last scene, are we there?
Well,
basically, or do you want to talk about the battle some more?
Yeah, I think maybe we should just sit on the battle just for a few more minutes.
Go ahead.
But there was another one where a lot of people thought the scene where they started pounding the mortar shells on that steel slate and throwing it by hand. I guess a lot of people thought that was impossible, but that actually did happen in World War II. It was Charles Kelly who actually got a Medal of Honor for it. They didn't have a projectile, a cannon or whatever, and so he just started banging them and setting them off and then hawking them. And so you can really do that, and that's kind of the thing, is that this film took all these different things that happened throughout this period of war and crammed it all into one battle to make it seem as epic can be. And that's Hollywood magic, man. And damn, does it make a good film. And, I mean, 3 guys lived by the end of this. The captain dies, the sniper dies, the Jew
Spoiler
dies,
alert.
the sergeant dies. The only people that live are Ryan, and Upham, because the coward has to live,
That's true.
And that's when we kind of move into the final scene of this film, which is, old Ryan praying at Captain Miller's grave.
Yeah, I don't know if he's really praying. He was talking to him.
Yeah.
Telling him he hopes that, he's lived his life the best he could, and he hopes that the captain, it was enough for, what they did for him.
Yeah.
But, I think about that, it's okay, so, I mean, granted, he lived his life, and he did good, but,
Granted.
Well, I'm just saying, if you think about it, though, remember in the church, Captain sat there and said, well, hopefully he invents this or does this, does something really worthwhile. Yeah. It's like,
a light bulb.
What did he do? Did he just work a 9-to-5 job, minimum wage job, married, had kids and kids? I mean, yes, that is living life, but
I think
I don't know if I could say that's
because the last thing he said to him is earn this, and I think that he lived a life. He had a fulfilling life. Like he may not went on to do anything that
special,
but
I don't know. It kind of bugs me. I think he still should have been something special. It didn't have to be totally big, but something, a little bit in his backstory or something. Than just having, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, he lived a life for those soldiers who didn't live. You know what I'm saying? He lived for them.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's what I took away. But at the same time, I'm like, it would have been kind of cool if he did do something special.
Yeah.
For those. But, who knows?
I'll tell you, man, by the end of this film, though, it does really make me think about how integral our role was in World War II. Because if we didn't step in, man, the world would have looked very differently. Like, I'm pretty sure America would have still been a country, but I think it would have just been like America, Canada, Mexico, and then the rest of the world would have been Nazi. And that's kind of a scary thought, but yeah, there was a judge that actually sentenced 2 kids that defaced a veterans park to having to watch this film. And this.
I bet it would have worked.
Yeah,
they would have sat there and thought twice about ever doing it again.
Does it still stand?
For sure.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
Dude.
I think, I don't know. We'll be watching a lot more war movies, I'm sure, throughout this stuff.
This is one of the greatest, dude. I'll tell you, I've seen quite a few. This is one of the greatest.
Oh. Like I said, I've seen, before, at the beginning, there's just so many, the ones I've seen are just, every one I've seen is like a different, I can't really judge them because the aspect is like different. I'm looking at them differently.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is amazing because to me, it was all about the battle.
Yeah.
Basically.
The struggle.
Yes, that was the main thing.
Yeah.
And saving, getting Ryan was kind of the side plot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where, the theme stood in front of the plot. Yes,
exactly.
Because it was about World War II.
Exactly.
Where and Ryan saving Ryan was just a part of that,
Where all the other ones I've watched,
it's
the side story,
or it's about the story.
The story more, and the war that whatever they were in is over onto the side. So it's hard to say. So yes, I think this is amazing.
Oh yeah. Pound for pound, dude. Acting, effects, story, theme. If you line this up with the war movie that came out in 2024, I think that the only reason why you'd be aware that this movie was made in 1998 is because of the actors. Mm-hmm. Just because of how young they look.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie still holds up today. And I don't know, I give it
how many privates are you in? Well, that's not right. How many stripes? That didn't come out. How many stripes?
How many Private Ryans?
Well,
how many Ryans is this movie worth?
I wasn't even going to say Ryan. I was just going to leave it with parts. Our privates. How many privates do you give? And that just
how many Ryans is this movie worth, Captain Miller?
How many stripes?
I'm going with Ryans.
Really?
Yeah, because he said.
I think we need to talk about before every movie what we're going by. But anyway, okay.
Well, you remember when he was saying like one Caparzo is worth 10 Ryans?
Okay, you're right. Ryans is a good one.
So how many Ryans is this movie worth, Captain Miller? Let me rephrase that. How many Ryans is this movie worth, Lieutenant Dan? 9. I give it 9 Ryans.
Really?
Just because there were some inaccuracies.
I thought we were actually going to agree on this one. Because I'm giving it 10. I see nothing wrong with this
10
movie.
Matt Damons. That's too many Matt Damons.
Anyway, I give it 10. This movie's perfect in every way as far as I'm concerned. So
I love this film, and I would recommend that you watch it. Just maybe not with the kids.
No, at least not the young ones.
At least
I don't know.
16.
I think just Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not a kid's movie, no, but at the same time, I mean, it's nothing.
There's a lot of gore
wrong with it.
It's
yeah,
real
but
graphic. I mean, you see people.
It's real life, though. So in a way, when
most people, when they walk out the front door, they're not going to see someone get blown to bits.
No, but this is what they went through for their country. This is history. So in a way, you know, I don't know if it'd be at the same time. Look at what people let their kids see at young age nowadays. So I mean, what difference does this make? Except for this is actually real. Anyway,
we got to wrap it up. So,
am I on pick?
Yes, let's pick a film.
And we'll decide if this is or if it's gonna be the first pick, right?
Oh
my gosh!
Is it Repo Man? That's the same. Oh my god! See, I don't know if you can read that. We reshot this, and the first one she picked was Repo Man. And when we decided to reshoot it, I was like, we'll just pick a different film because I wanted to get an authentic reaction.
Well, and I thought I'd be good, and put it back in there so that we don't forget.
I love this film. This is one of my favorite films.
I end up picking it again.
Cheryl's gonna hate it, and I love it.
Okay.
Now, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share on all your social media, and keep watching movies. You gotta be better at getting on.
Well, I thought you were gonna say comments.
Leave us some comments. And keep watching movies.